the big news, I think, is that Skyy Clark is officially an Illini, and the 5-star prospect, wherever he ends up, whether it's 35, 25, one of the highest ranked prospects Illinois has had in a long time. Now he comes with an injury he's been dealing with for the last year with the knee, still trying to get up to 100% there. But certainly, Derek, a really talented piece. And the future of the backcourt with he, Jaden Epps, and Sear Harris. And then you add Ty Rodgers to this class. He can handle a little bit. I think he's doing that on display at the Jordan practice today, the Jordan Brand Classic practice today. So, man, the future looks bright. Like one of these guys, two of these guys could be gone within 2 years. We know that, but you keep stacking this kind of talent, and this is just raising it to another level.
Yeah, we've seen this staff and even the changing of the staff. Brad Underwood be able to covet a lot of top 100 talents, and Io in that top 50 range. Same with Kofi, even Adam Miller and Andre Curbelo as well. But Skyy Clark's even up another level when he gets to being that 5-star guard. And we know that pre-injury, if you watch his tape out there, he is very, very talented. And now it's just the process of getting him back to that pre-injury form and being able to have the same type of burst and explosion. But this is one heck of a group in terms of talent and guys that can provide some instant impact. And while we're still waiting to see how all the dominoes fall, and will there be a veteran ball handler, we could talk all about that. But this is setting you up to have a lot of talent, and big picture wise, you can be really excited. And even if you get Kofi back, you can have a pretty darn good team next year too. So it's a big deal. And to have Clark on the dotted line and about 2 months out from when all 4 of those guys will show up on campus and get summer workouts rolling, it's an exciting time, and certainly lots to like about how they complement each other. And like you said there with Ty Rodgers, I even think Sincere Harris has some ability off the bounce too, and that just probably makes your offense a little bit more dynamic, just having some versatile pieces that can do some different things.
I want to pause for a second and zoom out, Derek. Like we talked about this a little bit, but the level Brad Underwood is recruiting at, I mean, 4 of the last 5 classes are top 5 Big Ten classes, top 20, top 25 classes. 14 4 or 5-star prospects in the last 5 years under Brad Underwood is second only to Michigan. And Michigan is recruiting at another level than everybody in the Big Ten, basically. How has he been able to do this? Because I thought he'd be kind of the John Beilein, get some underrated guys, develop them, and then they take off. Well, he got Kofi and Io and even guys like Alan Griffin was kind of what I was expecting him to do, but he's gotten these top prospects, Curbelo, Miller, year after year, to where, hey, it's not a surprise. You land a bunch of top talent, you're going to be competing at the top of the Big Ten. So how has he done it?
It's been really impressive, and it has been about assembling the right staff and knowing that you're going to have connections beyond just inside the state. And when you look at this run here, of course, you had Io, you had Adam coming from inside the state, even if you threw DeMonte in that mix, but a lot of other guys have been outside your region. You have Kofi, you have the international route. You get someone like Skyy, who's from down in Tennessee, now playing in Florida. So being able to pick from different areas of talent, where in the past with Illinois basketball, I know that they did that, of course, when you get a Darren Williams, or there have been some examples of that in the past. Like the 80s, you lean pretty heavily on the state having a bunch of talent, and that certainly played out well for the program. And even you think about the Peoria pipeline, you think about a downstate guy like Brian Cook, but for Brad to be able to get assistants that have other ties, and they sold opportunity, they sold vision, they sold style of play early on, and they started to win. And now they've really been able to couple everything with the connections, with the winning Big Ten championships, Io in the NBA. So there's just the momentum has continued to progress forward. And I think we were looking to see if they could take one more step with coupling the success with then further promise in the future with this recruiting. And they've been able to do that in this class. And there is excitement already. Morez Johnson, the type of prospect he is in 2024. And now you have the portal too, to be able to pursue talent. So they've just made this sell even better as they've gone forward. It's credit to Brad for bringing in the right guys. And we can't, I know it's easy to look at certain assistants with the ties, but Brad is ultimately a guy in that room too that's got to be able to close and got to be able to connect with these recruits. And he's been able to do a very good job in that too.
Yeah, and Skyy just so happens to have a brother who's pretty talented too, ZZ, in the class of 2024. He's visiting this weekend or next week along with Skyy for his official. So if you could start that class with Morez Johnson and ZZ Clark, pretty good start there as well. Before we get to the rest of the roster, Derek, Skyy, we'll see how he bounces back from this injury. That is an X factor in all of this, but Illinois seems very confident that he's going to be good once the fall comes around. So these guys are going to play, right? And no matter what people thought of, should Pods play more? Should Melendez and Goody play more? I think Melendez obviously was earning that role until the appendectomy, right? Brad has played freshman a lot. I mean, Miller started every game. Curbelo was the Big Ten Sixth Man of the Year. Kofi played, started. Io played, started, right? Like, he's not afraid to play really talented freshmen. So these guys are going to be a huge part of next year's team. So what is your expectation for each one of these four guys?
I think you look at Skyy Clark being someone that, as he gets back to being fully healthy, a guy that slots in as probably a day one starter. He's going to have that opportunity. And that's not to say that Jaden Epps can't be in competition with him. I think it'll be interesting, again, if they do add a veteran ball handler, maybe they add a veteran bigger guard. Maybe Clark's the one, and you put someone like a Terrence Shannon. We can talk about some of the other names on that list of guys that are off guards that can do some different things. Or maybe if it's a Courtney Ramey, who might be potentially a primary ball handler, just a capable ball handler. Maybe Scott could play the two, but he's going to be a guy that's one of your primary scorers in that backcourt. Certainly a score first guard that can get his own. And I know that's something that Brad really likes about both him and Jaden Epps. I think that when you're looking at Epps, it will be determined about who else comes in, but potentially, I mean, there's a situation based on how some of the dominoes fall, or if you don't get some of the guys you're in on, maybe Epps and Clark are your starting 1 and 2. That is within the realm of possibility. Otherwise, I could see Epps coming off the bench as a microwave bucket getter that's leading that second unit with the ball in his hands. Sincere Harris is a lengthy two-way guard that comes off the bench, I think, and can play defense, can slash to the rim. I see him ultimately as being a plus shooter as he continues to develop. Maybe we've seen some guys who are good shot makers don't shoot it the greatest as a freshman, so maybe that's something with him we'll have to see. But maybe not a ton of point production, but not. I mean, he's a capable scorer that's also going to get after it defensively. We know that Brad, in terms of minutes allocations, if you can play defense, you're probably going to get in the game. So I would think that Harris will log some minutes off the bench, and we know Ty Rodgers, very versatile, can play multiple positions, can definitely guard. His shot is going to probably determine ultimately how much he's going to be on the court, because you don't want to have a shooting liability. Not that he can't develop that. And around Kofi, I think that's something that if you get him back, maybe you try to put situations together. I really like the idea of Rodgers playing the 4 and Hawkins at the 5. Like, that seems like, or even Danger, because Danger can stretch the floor too. So I think he'll be in that mix. But I could see Clark being a double-digit scorer, a starter. Epps off the bench, potentially, maybe even pushing for a starting role. It's going to score 8 to 10, and then Harris and Rodgers off the bench as well, and kind of bench roles, supplement. That's a tough word. Supplementary roles. I think everybody's going to play out of that group.
Yeah.
Of course, we'll be sitting there in December and January, and someone won't be getting the amount of tick that the fan base likes, and we'll be on one of these podcasts talking about it.